Gustong imbestigahan ni Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa si Kabataan Party List Representative Raul Manuel. Ito'y matapos lumabas sa pagdinig sa Senado ang aligasyon mula sa ilang dating rebelde na miyembro umano ng Communist Party of the Philippines o CPP ang kongresista at recruiter din umano ng New People's Army. Isusulong din anya ng senador na amyendahan ang party list system law para hindi na umano magamit ng mga miyembro ng mga rebeldeng grupo para makapasok sa Kongreso. Sa isang pahayag, tinawag ng Kabataan Party List na sirang plaka at walang katotohanan ang mga paratang laban kay Representative Manuel. Hindi rin anila ito asal senador, kundi pag-aaksaya sa resources ng Senado at pag-abuso umano sa pondo ng taong bayan. Hindi rin anila investigasyon ang nais ni Senator De La Rosa, kundi witch hunt laban sa mga kabataan na nagbabantay sa mga programa ng gobyerno.
But if the Honorable Congressman is referring to those cases against Parlade, Baduoy, et al., Esperon, with respect to the red tagging, those cases were already dismissed. Sa kadahilanan lang, magpa-file kayo ng kaso dahil ang respondent ay isang sikat na tao, mataas ang posisyon sa gobyerno. Binibigyan din po namin ng pansin yung mga kaso na pinafile ng mga mahihirap. Binibigyan po namin ng pansin yung mga kaso na karapat dapat bigyan. Pero kung papalusutan kami na red tagging ang rason, pero sasabihin hindi, nag-violate ka ng Section 3E. Because Section 3 says undue injury to the government or the individual. Yan ang cause ng undue injury na yon. Kung red tagging, wala akong binayulit na batas.
Mr. Chair, gusto ko manang bigyan ng context yung aking tanong. Mr. Chair, may mga rights defenders, lawyers, alternative media, civic leaders, at maging isang think tank na nag-file ng administrative and criminal cases with the Office of the Ombudsman against several ex-officio members of the NTF-ELCAC. First to file their complaint noong February 2020 ay accused si Major General Parlade Jr., former PCOO Yusek Badoy, and former National Security Advisor Esperon for violating Republic Act 6770 for committing unreasonable, unfair, oppressive, or discriminatory acts. Also, Mr. Chair, on June 2020, Major General Parlade was also filed with a case because of violating the anti-graft law and the administrative code. Meron pa, Mr. Chair, December 2020, lawyers naman po nag-file din ng administrative complaint against Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and Mr. Esperon. Also, 2 days after, from human rights groups, nag-file din po ng criminal and administrative case against Mr. Esperon, Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and then PCOO ASEC Mocha Yuson for violating Republic Act 9851 in relation to the principle of distinction under international humanitarian law. Also, Mr. Chair, December 2020, pa rin, administrative complaint against former NICA Director General Monteagudo, former Defense Secretary Lorenzana, and former Interior Secretary Anyo for violating the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for public officials and employees. Also, Mr. Chair, still, December 2020, alternative media nag-file din ng complaint against Mr. Parlade, Ms. Badoy, and former NTF-ELCAC Executive Director Allen Capuyan. Ang basis naman po ay Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, pati din yung Code of Conduct. In summary, Mr. Chair, 6 administrative complaints from various organizations and 2 criminal complaints pending before the Office of the Ombudsman. May we ask, Mr. Chair, ano na po ang status ng 6 na administrative complaints and 2 criminal cases? Since ang last po doon sa ating na-enumerate ay na-file pa noong December 2020.
Honorable Chair, Your Honors, yung tanong po ay sa dami ng kasong yon, hindi ko alam kung anong status. But if the Honorable Congressman is referring to those cases against Parlade, Baduoy, et al. Esperon with respect to the red tagging. Those cases were already dismissed. Sa kadahilanan po na wala naman pong batas na nagbabawal sa red tagging. In the absence of a law, we cannot arrogate unto ourselves by saying na nag-violate ka ng red tagging. Red tagging po pinag-uusapan, but I am not really sure if this is the one that is being referred to by the Honorable Congressman Manuel. So, I will appreciate kung bibigyan po ninyo kami ng listahan, and I will inform you the status of those cases.
Mr. Chair, bahagi po ng complaint against these individuals ay yung ginawa nga nilang red tagging. Tayo din naman, Mr. Chair, we filed a bill actually na gusto natin ay ma-criminalize ang red tagging and maprotektahan lahat ng mga defenders natin, lahat ng mga merong advocacy at dapat ay safe sila, hindi sila nasasubject sa mga discriminatory na mga acts. In the absence of that law at this moment, Mr. Chair, kaya ang na-cite natin ay yung ibang mga batas na actually ay pwedeng maging basis para mapanagot ang mga individual na ito. Mr. Chair, since hindi pa nakatanggap ng official communication ang mga nag-file ng mga complaints against these people, may we request the Office of the Ombudsman to furnish our office, pati din yung mga nag-file mismo, na mabigyan po sila ng written na kopya ng dismissal para po on record ay mapanghawakan po natin iyon. Can the office commit to that, Mr. Chair?
If Your Honor could please give us a copy of those cases, we assure you that we will furnish you the status of those cases. The earliest would be this afternoon. Pero sinisiguro ko po sa inyo na kung mga kasong yun ay na-dismiss na, I am sure na yung mga complainant ay nabigyan na ng kopya. Ngayon, doon sa puntos na dahil nga walang red tagging, fa-file mo ng kaso ng violation ng Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, para lang po yun yung nagpalusot tayo Diba? Ito yung tinatawag na yung palusot Kung sa sibuyas, ito yung palusot na pagtatanim ng sibuyas o ani. Just like in the violation of the dangerous drugs law, marami po nagpa-file sa amin ng Section 3E. Ang pinakapunot dulo po ay drugs. So wala ho kami jurisdiction doon. So ginagamit, may mga pagkakataon po, ginagamit ang ombudsman. Sana wag naman po ganun. Dahil hindi naman po ang ombudsman karakarakan mag-action sa inyong mga kaso na wala naman talagang kinalalaman. Sa kadahilanan lang, magpa-file kayo ng kaso dahil ang respondent ay isang sikat na tao, mataas ang posisyon sa gobyerno. Binibigyan din po namin ng pansin yung mga kaso na pinafile ng mga mahihirap. Binibigyan po namin ng pansin yung ibang mga kaso na karapat dapat bigyan. Pero kung papalusutan kami na red tagging ang rason, pero sasabihin hindi, nag-violate ka ng Section 3E. Because Section 3 says undue injury to the government or the individual. Yan ang cause ng undue injury na yon. Kung red tagging, wala akong binayolate na batas. Yun lang po. I would appreciate if the Honorable Congressman Manuel could give us a list of those cases, and we will immediately. I'll call the office now and give us a status of those cases. And I assure you, before the end of the day, you'll have a copy of the status of those cases.
Now we go to the majority. Representative Gerbil Luistro, please.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning to our distinguished colleagues. And of course, to our guests from the Ombudsman, most especially to Ombudsman Martires, and to my kababayan from Mabini, Batangas, our Special Prosecutor Edilberto Sandoval. Mr. Chair, my first question is on the increase in budget from 2023, the proposed budget is 5.5% higher. That is 263.1 million. Can you explain which programs were augmented, reason which yielded an increased budget by 263.1 million, Mr. Chair? At least, Mr. Chair, can we identify the programs which were augmented that yielded this increase by 263.1 million compared to the budget for the current year, Mr. Chair?
Thank you for the question, ma'am. The totality of the increase of the agency's budget comprises of both directional swings in each item allocation. So some major items could have increased, some other items could have decreased. So we don't have the specific information as to what led to the net effect as of the moment, but I will gladly provide you with that particular information within the day, ma'am. But I would like to stress again the salient features of the budget. We did have additional funding requirements for personal services requirements. So a bulk of that, to my estimation, madam, would go to the increased personal services requirements for the Office of the Ombudsman for fiscal year 2024. And then again, we would be needing additional equipments in the form of additional motor vehicles, additional office equipments, and additional communication, medical, and other properties. For these three items, motor vehicles, office equipments, and communication, medical, and other property, that would translate to roughly 120 million pesos already. Again, we would also be needing funds for the rehabilitation of the main office building amounting to 50 million pesos and additional provision for ICT requirements for 217 million. Again, unfortunately, as explained earlier, the net effect would have to be determined more specifically in a separate statement of such balances, ma'am. But we do have funding requirements for these items which I mentioned. Thank you po.
Mr. Chair, the Office of the Ombudsman mentioned PS, personal service, as one of the reasons for the increase in its budget from the current year. It appears, however, from the report that from 2020 to 2024, 47% of all posts were unfilled. So can you please enlighten us how we are introducing an increase in the personal service when there remains 47% of our plantilla which are still unfilled? That is from 2020 to 2024, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that question.
Thank you for the question, Congressman Luistro. Your Honor, yung mga unfilled positions, mula na since yung office, ay talagang sinasadyang hindi namin mafilapan dahil pinag-aralan ko pa mula noon ano yung naging cause ng inordinate delay. Which is a problem, a recurring problem. So bago ako mag-hire ng additional lawyers, pinag-aralan ko muna saan ang problema. So this year, I have decided to merge two important groups the fact-finding investigation group, and the preliminary investigation group. We will be hiring additional lawyers. We will be creating satellite offices in each of the provinces throughout the Philippines. We will be hiring additional lawyers for each of the sectoral offices para po ang magre-represent sa ombudsman sa mga cases before the regional trial courts or the municipal trial courts will no longer be the Department of Justice but the lawyers of the Office of the Ombudsman. So this year, I promise you na once naayos ko yung plantilla namin, which is already in the making and before the end of the year, matatapos na, sisiguruhin ko po sa inyo na there will be additional lawyers in the Office of the Ombudsman. Investigation of cases will be speed up. Pabilisan po namin investigasyon ng mga kaso. And I have proven that na madali lang naman pala. Pwede pala kami mag-imbestiga ng cases nang walang isang taon tapos kami sa investigasyon. So with this, pagpasensyaan lang po ninyo. Yung mga unfilled positions ay sinisiguro ko po sa inyo, mafe-fill up na po yan. But if there are unfilled positions tungkol sa mga administrative personnel, maaaring alisin ko na po yon. Kasi hindi po kailangan ng ombudsman yung mga non-lawyers. Mas kailangan po ng Office of the Ombudsman mga abogado. At mas kailangan po ng Office of the Ombudsman yung IT. Problema po namin sa Office of the Ombudsman ay yung aming IT. Itong taon po nito, na-discover namin na na-hack yung aming system. Yung mga may kaso pala sa amin, kaya pala alam nila kung nasaan ang kanilang mga kaso, kasi 3 tao pala ang nakatingin sa aming firewall. So, because of that, 2 of our personnel from the Management Information System are on preventive suspension because of this. Hindi ho biro na alam po ng respondent na ginagawa pa lang yung desisyon ay manakakakita na. So there was a time when I advised the lawyers not to use the internet of the Office of the Ombudsman. Marami po kayong problema, but doon sa unfilled position, sinisiguro ko po sa inyo, Your Honor, na within the year, we will be hiring additional lawyers for the Office of the Ombudsman. Marami pong salamat.
Justice, ilan po ngayon ang abogado ng Ombudsman?
Hindi ko po masyadong maano ang bilang, but noong araw po kasi may mga bureaus na kukunti po ang abogado, ayaw ng director mag-hire. But right now, according to this data given to me, there are about a total of 353 lawyers, all in all, from the central office to the sectoral offices. So, dadagdagan po namin ito ng another about 400 to 500 lawyers.
Ngayong taon pong ito?
Ngayong taon pong ito. And we're now starting to hire additional lawyers for the sectoral offices. Kasi hindi ko alam kung dapat kong sabihin ito. Iba-iba pa po kasi yung numero ng abogado ng bawat sektor. I mean, the Ombudsman for the Visayas has a different number of personnel sa Ombudsman ng Mindanao, sa Ombudsman ng Luzon, o sa Ombudsman ng Muleo. Ang nangyari po noon ay nagpalakasan sa Ombudsman. Pag malakas ka sa Ombudsman at sinabi mo, ma'am, mag-hire ako ng additional lawyer, at sinabing okay, mag-hire ka ng additional lawyer. Isa pang problema sa Office of the Ombudsman ay yung wala naman term yung opisyal, pero mayroon siyang coterminous na item.